Watch a college student step up to Charlie Kirk, only to get owned within a matter of seconds. This is a good clip, guys. I know you're going to like it. This abortion issue is a very big one, and in my opinion, not discussed enough in modern America. I don't know about everybody else here, but personally, I grew up actually being pro-choice earlier on in my life because, frankly, I just didn't know anything about the issue. I grew up going to public school and only ever heard the side about, women's bodies, controlling their bodies, all this kind of BS that the left spews about it, and how it's really not that bad, it's not a life, and all this stuff. Then as I learned more about it, I realized just how barbaric and disgusting the act really is, and how sickening that it is normalized in American society. So with all that being said, guys, we're gonna get right into the clip. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But first, do me a big favor here. Like our video and share it around, because with your guys' help, we can make this channel grow even bigger and keep bringing you guys these great videos. As always, everybody, I'm your host, Darian, and this is Resist the Mainstream.
Okay, I just want to start with, I heard earlier in this section that you were talking about how Pfizer and Moderna push the vaccines on people. Am I correct? Okay. So I wanted to talk about how you're a big advocate for having a choice as Americans to get the vaccine, which I completely agree with. Yeah. But also at the same time, you also advocate for women not to have the freedom to choose what they do with their bodies, as well as the LGBTQ people, they shouldn't have freedom to do what they want or what they're fighting for equal rights.
Okay, so if it's not your DNA, it's not your choice. Do you agree with that?
I would partially agree. I mean, I do agree, but
so you
in this
have
situation,
sovereignty over your DNA?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so when there's another DNA inside of you, do you have sovereignty over that DNA?
It is a part of the woman that...
Well, it's also part of the man, so it's new DNA, though.
It's attached to the woman, that's what I'm saying.
It's attached, but it's not her.
Yeah, absolutely, but, if you think about it, theoretically, it's like a parasite. It's attached to your body.
A baby's a parasite?
It's a fetus. It's a lump of cells in the woman's...
We're all lumps of cells.
Yeah, absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
So, but what you're trying to do is you're using dehumanizing language. Mm-hmm. You clump of cells.
That's not what I'm trying to do.
But you are. No, it's okay. This is typical abortion language, which is try to make the baby seem that it's not a baby, because the word baby gets people animated. Because if we called it a baby, all of a sudden we wouldn't abort it. But it is a baby. By every characteristic, it's a baby.
It's totally true. All of these terms are used to dehumanize a human baby. And there's another term that Kirk didn't address right there that the guy quickly mentioned there. You can roll back if you missed it. But he tried to correct Kirk and say, well, it's not a baby, it's a fetus. And very commonly, and ironically, I'll say, the term fetus is used to dehumanize the baby that's in the womb. But you know what's really ironic about all of this? The term fetus is Latin and actually means little one or offspring. In other words, baby. It is essentially this exact same thing. A lot of Americans don't really know the English language that well, unfortunately, and that is why they will correct people and say, well, it's not a baby, it's a fetus, in a weird, bizarre attempt to dehumanize it. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense given that the terms are essentially synonymous, but it is important to clarify that because colloquially it is considered a dehumanizing term in the eyes of, let's say, the masses.
So I guess the question in front of us is, with the vaccine question, you have sovereignty over your DNA.
Yeah, absolutely.
As soon as there's new DNA that is not your own deoxyribonucleic acid, you do not have sovereignty over that DNA. It is a temporary visitor in your own DNA, but it's not your DNA. It's its own human being.
Okay.
I don't have sovereignty over you.
Absolutely,
you don't have sovereignty over me.
Yeah.
And your mom right now is not allowed to come back to campus and kill you.
Yeah, that's not the point, though.
No, but think about it, because you guys are different. So we wouldn't
choice of an.
But your mom doesn't remain in control of you for the rest of your life.
No, yeah, absolutely not.
Because you're separate DNA, and it just so happens that it's temporarily housed within, not that it is you.
Okay.
So no one's contesting that women do not have autonomy over their own being. The point is, what about the being that also has autonomy that you are forsaking in the woman? Because that baby has rights too.
Well, you can't ask the fetus the question, right? It should come down to the woman that's carrying the child.
I can't ask my 6-month-old the question.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
So just being able to reason with a being does not mean that the being doesn't have rights.
But
Correct?
What about when it comes to the safety of the mother that's carrying the child?
So in what circumstance? So you're saying, if the mom's life is at risk, is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Incredibly rare, unusual.
Yeah.
Try to perform a cesarean section. So abortion is not medically necessary in 99.9% of those cases. A cesarean section is where they'll cut you right below the belly button, and they'll try to deliver the baby via cesarean. Well, it's better to do that to give the baby a chance to live than try to euthanize the baby and break its neck and spine and put poison in its brain, right? So cesarean section is a much better option.
I love the way Charlie Kirk just described what an abortion is in clear terms, because people need to hear that more. All right, we're always taught it's some lovey-dovey thing. It's not a big deal. It's a medical procedure, a medical procedure, except you're ending a life instead of helping protect it or save it, because that makes sense. And the reality is, it is a brutal, graphic, and disgusting and horrific thing. And it's probably one of the greatest evils of modern American society. I say that with no exaggeration or hint of irony, okay? We have at least 500,000 abortions a year in the United States, according to CDC estimates. And frankly, that number is probably a lot higher. That is an amazingly high amount of people who never even got a chance at human life, had it torn away from them before they'd even speak to defend themselves. How sad and horrific is that?
Okay.
So there are options available other than abortion, but the abortion lobby would never tell you that.
Yeah, but what about like the common cases of rape and incest?
Yeah, so that's not as common. It's less than 1%. But I will defend it. So it's less than 1% of all abortions.
Okay,
so
I
let's
do
just say
agree with that.
hypothetically,
That's not-
somebody in this audience is conceived in rape. Who is it?
I can't point
Exactly,
that out.
because babies conceived in rape get the same human rights as babies conceived in a loving relationship. So your human rights don't disappear just based on how you were conceived.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And secondly, doing an evil after an evil is never correct.
No, yeah.
And of course I have sympathy for rape victims. It's not diminishing it, but saying that all of a sudden we're now going to murder an unborn baby because you got horrendously raped, morally, that sort of formula never applies to anything else in life.
This is the only correct position to have if you consider yourself pro-life, all right? Otherwise, it is not morally or philosophically consistent, as Kirk just pointed out. I can already see people in the comments are going to be making simpleton remarks such as, oh, well, I don't agree with Charlie Kirk on that. No, we need exceptions for, rape, incest, whatever. Otherwise, that's too extreme, and it's always these ridiculous arguments, oh, it's extreme, it's moderate, it's not extreme. Who cares, okay? What is the right, correct, and moral thing that would be good in God's eyes? That's the only question we should be asking. Shouldn't be about whether it's extreme or not. Extreme according to who? You know what I mean? Who's a moderate? That's why I hate these terms. They're just ridiculous. I hear about moderate Democrats all the time who openly support abortion up until the day of birth and child sex changes. These are moderates according to mainstream media. Really? You get my point? It's like, just support what's right. Doesn't matter who's saying what about it.
Okay, but I guess more of what I'm getting at, and I'm sure you covered it, but it's the purpose of having a choice in this free country that should be available.
You have a choice
Americans.
for you, but not choice for others. And that's the point with abortion, is that there's another being involved. So when it comes to the vaccine, you cannot be forced to do something against your sovereign being that you don't want. But as soon as another DNA is introduced, as soon as another being is there, that being has rights as much as you do. Because I respect your rights, and you got to respect those babies' rights. That makes sense?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, everybody, that wraps up our clip today. What'd you all think? I think Charlie obviously mopped the floor with the guy, but I will say he appeared respectful, and he was willing to engage in dialogue, and who knows? Maybe a seed was planted that will grow and get nourished in the future. I don't know. We will see. With all that being said, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We truly appreciate it. As always, please be sure to comment below. Let us know what you liked about the clip, what kind of stuff you want to see in the future, and we'll see you again soon. God bless.